Mr. Copeland Forbes. Copeland, welcome to IRITimes.com.
Thanks for having me on IRI Times.
Now, Copeland, you did a book, Reggae My Life Is. Indeed, boy, from I got it, I just can't put it down. And it brings back so many memories of, where you're coming from in Jonestown. Because I was next door to you in Denhamtown.
Right.
So tell us about your experience. Because them say nothing good come from West. And we prove them wrong all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Copeland, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Walking barefoot in Jonestown.
Boy, I tell you really know it too, for sure. Well, let me start and go back to those days, which we call the golden days in our youth. I was born in Jonestown, right, in a family of 12 siblings. My mother, Lillian Forbes, and my father, George Forbes. I attended Chatola Park Primary School. That school turned out some of the biggest names in history, not just in music. We have people like myself who attended that school, Reggae Queen Marcia Griffiths, Whaler, Bonnie Whalers, the entire Techniques with Slim Smith, Ducky Simpson, Freddie McKay, ballet dancer Michelle Mort, who is now Michelle Mort, married to the former CEO from Grace Kennedy. And so many big stars came out of that school. We spent years there until about 1959, 1960. Then we started branching out to different schools. Some would go to All Saints. Some would go to Kingston Senior, which is now Kingston Secondary. And those who pass scholarship and those who pass half scholarship and their parents can afford it would go to the high schools. So everybody started going in different directions, right? Now, Jonestown is just on the border of Trenchtown and Ghostown. And then after a few years, when the family start expanding and rent start going up, my mother had no choice, but she had to move from Jonestown. So we head west and went into Ghostown. Now, when somebody hear the word ghost, like they tremble. But Ghostown is just a different area from Trenchtown, where the streets is dirt. There's a bathroom outside in the intersection, and you stand in line to get a bath, to catch water and go into your yard. And the toilet we all know was pit toilet, So, but in that era, I was thrilled when I ran into quite a few of my former schoolmates who were in the entertainment fraternity. People like the Heptones, they grew up in there. The Toots and the Maytals, right, were right in that area. And so many other entertainers from Ghostown and Trenchtown was right in that area. Then, after a few years there, right, then we left and we went over into Trenchtown, right, and we were living at Greenwich Street and 8th Street, just across from the Trenchtown Comprehensive Clinic and the roundabout there, and Trenchtown Comprehensive School was right across from where we lived. And we lived there until the family started to migrate little by little by little by little. I was the first one to actually fly on a plane in my family because in 1961, being a member of the Boy Scout, I was a member of the All Saints Scout Troop. I was selected to represent Jamaica at the second Caribbean Jamboree in Trinidad, where we camped at Chagaramas Naval Base. And then my second trip was over to the United States in 1967, right, where I attended the World Jamboree then. And then I attended exchange program in Minnesota and Wisconsin, Greece at the Jamboree. And then I started traveling back and forth then. I started now in the entertainment fraternity in December 15, 1962. And I remember we launched our career with a group called the Harmonicats, which were 4 of us from our scout troop, and our scoutmaster, which was Robert Blackman, and everybody know him as Serby. You know, he was a pianist at the Moravian Church, so he taught us to blow the harmonica, you know, and yes, we call it mouth organ, but the right name is harmonica, you know, and that's when I found out harmonicas have different keys and all that stuff, so we were blowing different ones. So the harmonica, the Harmonicats, this was the name of the group. And then we started performing at tea parties, birthday parties, functions put on by the Boy Scout Association, and all different organizations. But then I realized that to get very deeper into the entertainment fraternity, you know, you have to start singing and dancing. So I formed a group named the Coasters, with some members of the Harmonicats in it, my brother Alfred Forbes, you know, Seaton Day, you know, and then Theophilus Evans, Quinty, you know, and Tighten Up, Errol Mundell, you know, these were members that passed through the group. And then we started dancing, right? We formed a dance group because we were really enthused when we saw James Brown when he came to Jamaica, and he did several concerts. And the James Brown dance was what got us dancing. And then there was a group in Jamaica by the name of the James Brown Four, which had people like Carl Anthony, who was known as Jamaica's pride and joy, Jamaica's bouncing baby boy. So they formed a group named the James Brown Four. And then came another group, the Fabulous Flames, with Loving Dear, and three other people in the group. And so we had competition. So it was the Fabulous Flames, you know, James Brown Four, and the Coasters were going head to head. We had a little edge because we were affiliated with the Mighty Vikings band, which was one of the top bands in Jamaica then, because we were members of the Mighty Vikings fan club, and we used to have fan club meeting at the Sombrero Club where the band plays a lot. So it was a little jump start for us, because when the band is playing on weekends at Sombrero Club, sometime at Dingo Club, and sometime at the different hotels and the stage shows, we got the opportunity to perform on all these events through the manager, Mr. Winston Chinqui, which I copied and adored, because he was one Chinaman who actually knew how to run a band and a business, and they said China people are one of the best business people. So I stuck around Winston Chinqui and learned quite a lot. So by performing there, right, and getting the international exposure, right, I was able to go overseas, and I ended up in 1968 in a place named Rice Lake, Wisconsin. And while there, I joined a band named Michael's Mystic. And would you believe it that I got into the band by an accident? I went to this club. My friends took me there because they said every Thursday live bands from around the U.S. come and play there. And I was there watching them, but the lead singer had a sore throat that night, and he couldn't sing. So one of my friends went and told the guys that they have a guy from Kingston, Jamaica, you know. Nobody know anything about Jamaica and Wisconsin. The only thing they know was Arabella Fonte and Deo, you know. So they went and told them that, you know, I can help them out, you know. I didn't even know all of this was going on until I saw the band leader came on stage, and he called everybody's attention, you know, during the break, and said, we have a surprise guest here from the West Indies, right? They said the West Indies, everybody started looking at me because I was the only black person inside the club. Everybody started looking at me. I didn't know my friends were behind me pointing their hands at, you know. So everybody's looking at me, and I'm wondering why they're looking at me. And then he said, yes, he's from the entertainment fraternity in Kingston, Jamaica, you know, where Harry Belafonte come from. And the guy said, Deo, and everybody said, Deo, you know. So I get a little spur there. Said, he's going to help us out tonight, you know, and sing some songs. And I said, oh, my God. So they took me around to the dressing room where the band was. And I went through some songs, some James Brown songs, Wilson Pickett, and The Temptations, you know, Get Ready. So when the guy asked me what key, I didn't even know what key to tell him. He said, start singing. And I started singing in the dressing room one day, start write down the keys and so on. And after going through about 6 songs with them in the dressing room, they went on stage and said, showtime, you know. And my God, I was as nervous as hell because I've never actually sung overseas. I was more a dancer. So here am I, you know, going to be singing and dancing. And I just me now this time without my compatriots. You know, I have that old thing in the book. They can see the pictures of me in the book, right? And I kicked off, you know, and I start singing, you know, the James Brown, the Wilson Pickett, and then I realized everybody was screaming and jumping, and then I started to do some of the James Brown dance, the flip, the move on the left leg, and you know, all of those James Brown things, I had it down pat, and people were screaming and jumping and so on, you know, and I did about 6 songs, and everybody was calling for more. I had no more, you know, so I just let the band play the Funky Chicken, and I forget what the other dance craze at the time was, and I just danced them out, and some of the James Brown songs, the instrumental, and I just was dancing and splitting and shuffling and doing everything and so on. At the end of the night, the band gave me a contract. You know, the manager come and said, you know, we'd like you to join the band. You know, so I said, really? Yes, and my starting salary was $150 a week. Now, $150 in 1968 went a far way. I mean, I went to the Flag Brothers shoe store, because Flags was a big thing in Jamaica, and here am I in America where Flags are, and I was just buying the latest styles of all the Flag Brothers shoes, and you know, those shirts with the ruffle, you know, in the front, those are the styles, because in Jamaica, we had a little corner where we live, we call it Dr. No Corner Boys, because you know, everybody had a little corner, and you outdressed the next corner, you know. So when I came back to Jamaica, and I brought back some of the outfits and the boots, them right up here, you know. So everybody was just looking and said, wait, the coasters are well outfitted now. So we were shining bright. And we continued performing and doing all the stuff that we used to do. By then now, I'm getting older in the Boy Scout. You know, I'm doing like leadership thing. And during that sojourn in the Boy Scout, I was able to get do some official royal duties, you know, like being the official car door opener for Princess Margaret when she came to Jamaica for the Jamaica independence celebration, right? And then I was selected again when His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie came to Jamaica, and I was selected to be his official car door opener too. Again, it's all in the book here again, right? And then when the United Nations Secretary General Youthant came to Jamaica, I was selected again to be the official car door opener, and I did it for the Duke of Edinburgh, right, Prince Philip, when he came to open the National Arena in Jamaica and to open the Commonwealth Games that was held at the National Stadium. So I started doing all the royal duties, you know, and moving around with all the royals. One thing that disappointed me, we were rehearsing for President Kennedy, who was stated to come and visit Jamaica because Lyndon Johnson had paid a visit and Kennedy was next to come. And I'll never forget that November 22nd night, you know, when like the sky was just red. And when I got the news, you know, that he was assassinated, man, I tell you, I mean, I've never met the man, I've never seen him more than TV, you know. But, you know, my heart, you know, just sank, you know, because here I got the opportunity to be so close up to one of the most popular U.S. president at the time, you know, because he got so popular when you remember that Cuban blockade thing, and he stood up, you know, to Fidel, you know, and those ships coming from Russia, and anything pass, take it out. That was the first time I ever thought this was World War III was going to come, you know. But, you know, we felt it, the whole world felt it when Kennedy was assassinated, you know, and so on. So I got all these great experience moving with these people. So it helped me now, because when I migrated overseas, you know, in Jamaica, and I went, first I was in Minnesota for a while, and then I went to New York. Because my sister lived in New York, then the first one who actually migrated permanently, Sylvia. She was living in New York, and my other sister, Faye, was living. So I went to New York, and I realized New York is where it's at if you want to be in the show business. Because I ran into so many of my friends, you know, Barrington Barrett, who used to be at JBC, TADP, you know, and Theophilus Evans, everybody, you know, Winston Jones, everybody was just there, the same guy who wrote Stop That Train, you know. Everybody was there, and I said, wow, this is it. And then now I ran into one of my friends, G. Fitzbartley, who was a well-known journalist in Jamaica. So he was in New York, going to school at the same time, but doing jobs, you know, writing for some famous newspaper like the Philadelphia Inquirer, you know, and other West Indian magazine. So he was the one now, the fact that he had those connections, you know, he took me now to many places, Lloyd Price Turntable down at Broadway, Joe Blue Showtime, and then to the Apollo. You know, when I got to the Apollo, for the amateur night, man, oh my God, that was a night I'll never forget, you know, because I've been hearing about the Apollo, and here am I now, one of the contestants that night. I tell you the truth, I drew number 7, right? And whenever your number is called and you're being introduced, you go out and you rub your hand on a little piece of good luck wood that is on the stage, and then you go out and you start. But they have a clown. They have a clown sitting on the side of the stage. And when you're not happening, you know, the crowd not with you, the clown get up and come with a bucket full of garbage and cut up paper and throw at you, you know. So every time they call a number, I get up, I went to the bathroom. When they call number 5, I go back to the bathroom. When they call number 6 and I know I am next, you know, I was as nervous as hell. But there was a guy who worked at the Apollo who was in my Boy Scout troop named Errol Robinson, right? No, Errol James, who is related to Jammies, right? You know, Jammies from Jamaica, his name is James. I think it was his cousin, you know. Errol James, who was a member of my Boy Scout, and he was working at the Apollo. He was the technician there, and he gave me all the confidence and said, just relax yourself, and you just make sure, just keep your head straight up and just perform. Don't look at any audience directly. I said, fine. And then when my time come now, and they introduced me, when they said, from Kingston, Jamaica, the country where Harry Belafonte comes from, I get a wow. So that kind of perked me up, you know. So when I went out and they interview me, I tell them, what are you going to do? I'm going to do the Temptation song, Get Ready. My God, when the band kick off, and I start, man, and I start singing. And the band is going on and everybody's singing. But when the song got to the bridge, and I don't know if I could go the bridge of the song to go up, I see the clown get up. I look to the side and I see the clown get up. And a voice in my head just say, you know something, start dancing. And I just grab the mic and make a spin around like James Brown and flick the mic out and use my foot and kick it back and it grab and go to the ground and the place mash up. Everybody was screaming like hell. You know, so I feel confident now and I was dancing. I did more dancing than singing. I just sing 2 lines and dance. And then I see the clown sit back down because everybody was on their feet, you know, seeing me doing all these James Brown move, you know what I mean, because I've never seen anybody. Because James Brown was just the hottest man on stage during them time. He was Mr. Showman. And I had all his move down pat like hell. When I was done, man, I felt good. I got a standing ovation. And my friend, Errol, James came around and said, so what I tell you, man, and thing. So in the end, I actually didn't win that night. I came second. The group that won came with their own band. And they sang a soul song with pop, 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 pop. You know, those kind of moves. And, oh, that was, you know, group movements those time. like the Dramatics and the Temptations. That was the thing, man, and they won. But, I felt good. At least I passed the test at the Apollo. And I said, yes, at least this is a cushion for me. So I went back down to Jamaica now in 1971. Right? Derek Arrett, you know Derek Arrett, he used to have a lot of shows at VIP Club up halfway through and Glass Bucket, So he booked me on one of the shows one weekend, man, and I never forget, man, when I look, I see Courtney Robb there playing, I see Ibu, and they were, I forget what band it was. It wasn't Third World yet, because this was 1971, But I think it's Hippie, I can't remember the name, but when I saw a lot of my colleagues, and Gitz Willis playing, and so I felt comfortable, And they did all the harmonizing for me, all Mustang Sally. When I'm singing Mustang Sally, they do all the harmonies, and I mashed down VIP Club that night, and I felt good that at least, I passed the test in Jamaica, and then I went back to the States, and I decided that, well then, I am just going to stay in New York and move my career to the next level. So I got me a 9-to-5 job. Because, you have to hold on a 9-to-5 job to take care of your bills and things. Because when you go to the States, and you bring up all the ackee and saltfish from Jamaica and the yam and banana, so when it's done, you start to hear, don't open the fridge too often now, right? And don't run up the phone bill. So you need to start earning your own money. So I got a job on 57th Street, Vera Car Parts. I'll never forget the name of that place, And myself, Barrington Barrett, a friend of mine, was working there too. Theophilus Evans was working there too, and Lloyd Ennis. All four of us was working there too. And I think Winston Jones was working there too, but it's through them I got the job. And then one evening we were coming across 57th Street, going towards to get our train. And then we passed this place and we see 20th Century Fox. On the outside, I remember as boys, we used to go to movies. We used to see movies by 20th Century Fox. So we said, let's go inside this building. So we went inside the building and we saw pictures of a lot of stars that as kids we used to see them in movie. And we were looking at them and we're going around and we're talking and acting and remember this movie and that movie. And then a man came over to me and said to us, you guys get an accent. Where you guys from? So we said, we're from the Caribbean. I said, what, where? I said, Jamaica. Oh, Harry Belafonte country? Yeah. He said, you guys ever been in movies? We said, of course. I said, what's the movie? We said, pantomime. At War Theatre, So he said, they're screening for a movie on the 10th floor. So if you guys want to go up, and try it out, and so on. I said, fine. So I delight this and I went up. When I went up there, I saw about nearly 500 people or more up there. I look at it, I said to them, boy, look like we stand a chance, because look, we have an accent, that's number one, and all these people are up here. Anyway, we auditioned, they gave you a script, and you had to read the script and you had to dramatize in front of about 6 people in a room. They did fast, they just come in, bam, 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 and when you're done, they said, okay, we'll get back to you. They don't tell you yes or no there, So after we're finished and done, we said, okay, and we are gone. We wasn't paying it much mind because we know we don't stand a chance, And then one evening, I went home and my sister said to me, some Fox place keep calling here all the time. We said, which Fox place? Some Fox, man, I can't remember, but they leave a number there. So I look at the number, I pick it up, and I called, and I heard 20th Century Fox. And I introduced myself and said, yes, Mr. Forbes, we've been trying to reach you, You have been selected for the movie. I said, really? I said, yeah. Your background and everything helped, and so on. So I said, all right, they can't come down to the office the following day. I went down. I had to fill out forms. They had to register us in AFTRA, which is a union up there, to movie. Register in AFTRA and AGFA. All these different movies, and so these unions register us in all the unions and everything and so on. And then fine, we had at 5 o'clock in the morning, we had to reach down in Brooklyn to start the shooting of the movie. And that movie became The French Connection, the first one, with Gene Hackman and what's the name of the other guy again? I shouldn't tell you the name, but it's a Gene Hackman and Roy Scheider. Shada, yeah, right, who act in the shark movie, right? And it was very nice, very interesting. I felt so great, I mean, being in a movie, myself and Theophilus and Lloyd Ennis, three of us got selected. Barrington didn't get selected. I don't know why. Might be him too short, because they want some man to look tough and things, So if you look at it, it's in the book with the pictures, them, and it's the scene that we played in the bar. And the two undercover cops, which was Roy Scheider and Gene Hackman, one dressed as Santa Claus and one dressed like he's selling hot dogs on the road. And then soon as the guy came into the, who is a pusher, came into the looking for a certain person, came into the bar. Then they raided the bar and so on. So it was a nice scene. I was elated because the first time I'm getting so much money, I get $2,000, right? Wow. Which was good. I went shopping again down 42nd Street. I buy the whole 42nd Street, with Italian shoes and Flag Brothers, And then now I was able to do some more movies through that one. One titled Groove Tube, and next one titled Goodbye Baby, and one with Liv Ullman named 40 Carats. I played some small extras in those, And it was very nice and very experienced, what I mean? So I started moving up the ranks now and said, yes, things really happening. So now there was a promoter in New York named Earl Harris. He's actually a Trinidadian by birth, but he usually do some big concerts, with West Indian acts. So he had a series of shows at the Apollo Theater, right? I know Mighty Sparrow was on it, Calypso Rose, Lord Bitterbush, and from Jamaica was Cynthia Richard, Al Brown, and a band named Skin, Flesh and Bone with bassman Lloyd Parks at the helm, and a 14-year-old drummer named Lowell Dunbar, who everybody know him now as Sly Dunbar, was the drummer then. So we were doing, can you imagine, we were performing at the Apollo Theater 1 week, 7 days, 3 shows a day. So we did 21 shows in 1 week at the Apollo, non-stop, one at 4, one at 8, and one at 11, and we did that. And can you imagine, most people have a 9-to-5 job, and you leave your work at 5, but you're at the Apollo when the 4 o'clock show starts. So, you make somebody punch you out. You have to jump through the back door, and you're gone, and somebody punch you out and thing. And it's while I was there now, one evening, I saw G. Fitzbartley came backstage with some people. At that time now, Johnny Nash, right, who was called the King of Reggae then, way before Bob. But he was singing a lot of covers from Bob. His first reggae song was Hold Me Tight. That became a hit. And the Sam Cooke, Cupid, that he recorded in Jamaica. I think some of those songs were recorded with Fab Five, who was known as the Reggaes back in those days. A lot of people don't know that. Fab Five, before they named Fabulous Five, their name was the Reggaes, because they were the band that traveled with Marsha Griffiths when she hit, with Young, Gifted, and Black with Baba and so on, right? So he was getting airplay in the United States. So he was scheduled to perform on Soul Train when he goes on tour. Now, reggae in America was new. It was just confined to the diaspora, which was a small Jamaican community in Brooklyn. Few in Bronx, because you never have much Jamaicans living in Bronx, and Queens. But Brooklyn was flooded, and that's where all the activities usually be. El Tigre Club at Rutland Road and 97th Street, was a popular place, and the Grand Concourse Ballroom, where the Wailers came first time, in 1972, I think it was, along with John Holt. So they came backstage. They came to the show and watched the show. And then I saw these 3 gentlemen walking backstage, led by with G. Fitzbartley. And it was Don Cornelius, Johnny Nash, and a guy from CBS Record. He was the CEO of black music named Logan Westbrook, right? And they came backstage and they spoke to me and said, my sisters were part of my dance group then too. My God bless her soul, may she rest in peace, Faye, right, who passed away. That's the sister who I followed. She was part of my dance group too, Faye Forbes, who married, and her name became Faye Wallace, But every time I talk about it, I have to big her up, because I'll tell you something that happened, Once we saw they advertised for some dancers to go on tour with a big US band, but they want jitterbug dancers. Now, we thought that the word jitterbug, like in Jamaica, you shuffle and you split. So that's what we call jitterbug. So me and my sister Faye decided that we're going to audition for this. So we went down to 125th Street at this place. So when we got into this place, we saw people doing a different dance. Jitterbug is not the shuffle and split like what we used to. Pulling the woman through the leg, spin her in the ear, and the foot move and all them kind of things. And I said, my God, we can't do that. So me and Faye went inside the bathroom and we started to rehearse a few steps, but we just go back to the regular dance thing. You spin the partner and you split and you spring her over. And we did a whole heap of that and but we never get anywhere in that. So we go back to our group dancing. So they recruited us and said took us to California. Right now, Soul Train actually started in 1971 in Chicago. But it got so big, it was the #1 black TV show in the United States during that early 70s, right? And they flew us out to California. Oh my God, this is what you call royal treatment now, because, limousines, was at the airport, pick us up at the airport and took us to Sunset Strip at the Hyatt, put us up in the Hyatt at Sunset, and then everybody came over. Don Cornelius came over and sat with us. Donnie Nash was staying in the hotel, and we all had meetings on what we're going to do and everything. And the day when the filming, would you believe it, man, that was some day I'll never forget. This was the first time. As a man, I didn't know when you're going on TV, a man must put on makeup. When they said, you have to go to the makeup room, I said, the what? The makeup room. I said, makeup for what? I have to make up all my clothes. They said, no, you have to be made up, you're going on camera. And when I went inside there, I saw Don Cornelius already inside there getting everything fixed up. I said, what? So I go in the chair. And why they put something on your face. When I look at the mirror, man, I look like a young baby. It look smooth, And we filmed the show that day. And my God, it was really an experience. That 1 hour Soul Train show that people watch every Saturday morning. It took about 8 hours of filming that day. I never realized that you have to do things over and over till you get it right. Narrate another point, do this again and thing. And oh my God, But it was a great experience for me because I'm never exposed to that yet. So when we came back to New York and when the first showing went on, man, I became a star in New York. No. Because I was working then now in the diamond industry, right? And my office was at Rockefeller Center right across from St. Patrick's Church, And I used to go daily onto 47th Street where all the diamond dealers are. So all the Jews and everybody who I do business with on behalf of my company, when they look and saw me on TV, they didn't realize everybody said, here comes the TV star, So I 5th Avenue, 47th Street, the whole of that area. It was like everybody knew me then, and they started calling me Mr. Soul Train then, So we started flying over on weekends at different times, to go and participate, and I became a regular dancer, on it, with other groups, and even when Johnny Nash came back to that night after we filmed, we played at this big club in LA. It's a popular club that a lot of groups in Bob Marley played. I played there with Peter Tosh too. The Roxy. Yes, it was the Roxy Club in LA. We played the night. So it was a great experience for me. And that now carried me right to the top, and said, yes, the entertainment fraternity is where I'm at. So now, in 1973 now, in comes the Wailers. Right, on their first, this wasn't their first trip, the second trip, because they came in 1972 and performed at the at the Grand Concourse Ballroom at 149th Street and Grand Concourse. It was them and John Holt. And they were back by the Debonaires band with my friend Capo from Benaya, who was playing in the band. You know, I mean, you have to big him up, you know, because he's been around for quite a while, you know. And he was one of the men that backed the Wailers in the first, when Bunny was in the group then. But in 73 now, the Wailers came in, and at this time now, Bunny had left the group. Bunny had quit the group from the UK tour. After the first leg of the Catch a Fire tour, right, he quit the group. I was kind of disappointed because Bunny is my schoolmate, you know. And when I said Bunny sing, you know, the Wailers, you know, it was great. When I was in Trenchtown, you know, and go around to the rehearsals and see them at night, you know, I was thrilled to see one of my schoolmates in the top group. So when he came, the group came in, and he wasn't there. You know, it was Joe Higgs. And Joe Higgs was the tutor who taught them harmony structure and helped groom them and get them ready for recordings, you know, like their teacher. And I asked what happened, and they said Neville went back to Jamaica, and they thought he was going to come back after a while because there were some discrepancies, which I found out later by talking to Bob, talking to Peter, and then later on in years, talking to everybody, I was able to find out the exact thing, what was the problem. I have seen interviews, and I've seen Bunny do talks and interviews and say a few things. But one of the main things was that the financial situation. As a young group back in those days, when you're going out on a tour to promote your album, the record company is going to spend money to help promote you, right? Because you're new. You know, you can't command fees to take care of the entire expenses. So record company will supplement it. So they call it advance, and it's tour support. When you finish a tour, they give you a statement that you go through, and you can look to see, you know, if everything is intact. Well, he told me himself. I didn't hear it from nobody else now, because I worked with Bunny solo career too. So I was able to backtrack on a few things to get it fast, although I heard it from the group when they came into New York. And he says that when he's finished working, he get a financial statement, and the statement showing that they owe the record company. And he said, oh, we must owe them, and it's not them work. It's we work, it's them must owe we. Now, that alone is telling you that he don't understand what tour support is, right? That was one of the reasons. And the other reason, which I see be played out in many ways, is he said he looked at the itinerary of the U.S. tour, and he looked at the venues, right? And those venues, he's not going to be playing those venues. I watched an interview that he did, and he said he turned to Chris and said, okay, this tour we're going to do in America now, are we going to make some money? You can't make money by it, and just, you're a new group. You know, so the record company is going to keep spending until you start to sell records, right, to offset these things. And Chris said to him, no, you're not going to make any money at him. So, well, if I go into that tour, I don't want no part of that. No, he said in many interviews that his two brothers got soft, right, instead of stand up strong with him, got soft, and they decided to continue, which was Peter and Bob. No, they saw the better picture. As a matter of fact, I was told by somebody who was with them at that time that he even was trying to encourage Peter to leave when he was leaving, you know, and it was Peter's girlfriend then, Yvonne, right, who said to Peter, no, you got to stay and do your work. You spend years in this group, and you got to stay and do your work. I will come with you on the U.S. tour too. And if you look at the pictures them, right, you can, on the U.S. tour, on the Catch a Fire tour, you can see Yvonne out there with them. That picture especially when we get to Las Vegas, which I'll come to later on. So here they are in New York now. They played at a place named Paul's Mall up in Massachusetts. Now, when Bunny said not playing in venues with certain kind of people, I don't want to use the word that he used to me, right, to describe them. In these venues, I'm not going to these venues. Now, Paul's Mall in Massachusetts is a top venue then. Eddie Kendricks, you name all the big groups played there, right? And it's a thing for starters, and it has a big name. It not been a 5,000 or 10,000, but I remember when the Whalers went there, they did 6 days. 6 days there, 2 shows per day. So when they finished that, they came down to New York, and then the group was opening up for Bruce Springsteen at a place named Max, Kansas City. Now, I don't see nothing wrong with those venues, the way he described them and called them, that certain kind of people go to those venues and freaks and all this big talk that I hear is bullshit, because these are top-notch venues. You have a venue named The Bottom Line, which was in Manhattan, which is a top club that record company execs go there too. It's a small place. Peter's played there on his tour. Rolling Stones been there, and a lot of rock groups go there to just hang out, and you meet record company people. But because of the name Bottom Line, now deal with none of that kind of thing, right? And so on. BB Kings, not going in them places. When you look at the itinerary now, Max, Kansas City, opening for Bruce Springsteen, that is something great. That is no probate club that you describe it the way he described them. Opening for Sly and the Family Stone. Sly and the Family Stone, you remember them tune? I want to thank you for letting me be myself again and dance to the music. They were the #1 funk group in that era with #1 songs on the Billboard chart. And you're getting the opportunity to tour with this group, and you're going to turn it down that you not playing with these people because they're playing in some venues that that describe as freak venue. I mean, that is bullshit. The gymnasium at the university, it's not a freak venue. But he made his own decision, and then he quit the group, and he went back to Jamaica. I remember when I was a boy, and you used to hear that thing flying around Jamaica, that him not flying on an iron bird anymore. It was right at them time there. But he left the group. So when they started now, I was taken to meet them down at a hotel named Chelsea Hotel at 23rd Street in Manhattan. That's where they were staying. And Fitzbartlett took me down there with them and introduced me to Bob. And tell Bob, I'm very experienced. I've been on Soul Train, earlier that year. I toured with Johnny Nash and thing and so on. And, and Bob asked me, what month you born? And I say, August. He said, what date? And I said, the 1st. He said, you're a born leader. You lead, And he would take me answer, and I would become a part of the team and start moving with them, which was, a lift for me, to be associated, with this group now. And their song, the single that's I Shot the Sheriff, that was covered by Eric Clapton, was getting a lot of airplays on big radio stations during that era. So, moving around with them now, I mean, it was great, until we got to last week. Well, let me go back to Max, Kansas City. We did 14 shows in 6 days, right? 14 shows in 6 days. 2 shows a day, and on the weekend, 3 shows a day, right? But that's what you had to do to get the exposure, and so on. Bob understood it. Peter understood it. I don't know, Bonnie probably didn't want to be a part of that, so him gone and so. So Joe Hicks was there, and Joe Hicks filled in, did the best he could do because he knew the songs them, because he was like, part of them, teaching them and so on. But Joe Hicks stayed for that tour in the U.S. because by the time you get to the West Coast, right, the Burning album was released on Peter's birthday, which was October 19th, right? So there's 2 albums now, The Catch a Fire and Burning, right? Now, the group, Sly and the Family Stone, was such a big group that in their minds now, they think that this group from Jamaica call themselves the Whalers shouldn't be on the same bill with them because they're too big, right? Them say our music is the back to front music. I remember one of them described the music, these back to front music players. So we mean back to front is like if say the music go from the back to the front. Couldn't understand when you hear some bass lines, Family Man bass line and thing. So what happened? They felt that they were too big for us. Yes, our set wasn't the smooth one like when you say Bob his solo thing, Little loose, sometimes one tune play for nearly 10 minutes before Bob come in. Cause I want to make sure the music right. You know what I mean? So the rhythm are go on and a go on and a go on and a go on, and Bob will wait before him start to sing. And so on. So they figure they want to get us off the tour. So the best thing to do is when you get to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, at the Ice Capade was the venue, I can't remember, right? They got up early in the morning and drive over the bus. Cause everybody was driving on the same bus, Like when Motown have them thing, everybody on the same bus. They get up in the morning and drive over the bus and left everybody stranded in Las Vegas. All that picture about this, is in the book here. You can see it, you know what I mean? And everybody was shocked, and that kind of straightened Bob, I remember he called his mom in Delaware and spoke to her. And then the news started to spread that the Wailers got stranded, in Las Vegas. And the news, Las Vegas is not far from California. So the news trickled over into California because some dates were scheduled for over there. So a lot of Jamaicans now, especially a guy named Gus Brown, who was going college in California, a lot of them drove out to Las Vegas. Sorry, the folder over there with the posters, they would like to show it, So what happened is that, I should have keep it beside me, I don't know why I forget. Yeah. They came over and spoke to a man who ran a club named the Metric, Matrix, the Metrics, right? And said these guys are from Jamaica, and they got stranded, but they can't play if you can't give them a night in the club. The man never hear of the Wailers yet, because there was a Wailer. I should say this from the beginning, there was a group named the Wailers from Tacoma, Washington. And I have a feeling when Sly the Family Stone hear the Wailers, they probably think it probably was that group. It's a white group from Tacoma, Washington, that has been going from 1959, named the Wailers, some white guys that play garage music, So the guy decided to give the Wailers them a night inside here, and he was thrilled. Because I wish, man, we could have paused, let me get the paper and show it on the thing here, But you can splice it in. Boy, to go in live, forget. And then he realized how great the group was, and he gave like 3 more nights, right? And then Capitol Records came to the rescue because Island Records was actually distributed by Capitol Records in the United States. So they came in and rescued everybody, did some live recording at the Capitol Recording Studio. I headed back to New York because when I saw what was going on, I said, boy, let me head back because stranded out there. And I headed back to New York on the train, right, because I take off from my 9-to-5 diamond job that I had. I went back and they continued. Well, the Burning album released, and they had to be promoting both of them. So they actually later on went back to the UK to do the Burning tour. This time now there was no Bunny Wailer and there was no Joe Higgs. So it was just Peter and Bob and vocal, and no Bunny Wailer, and nobody to carry the harmonies and thing. I mean, if you look at some of the live performances, you can see where the third harmony was missing. Sometimes Peter don't bother sing. Him just play and fill the gap there because harmonies is with 2, not with 1. But he must sing where there's duets and so on. And then Peter got sick, right? I think he caught pneumonia. So a lot of the dates had to be cancelled, right? And then by the time he got back, well, it was about a week left of the tour. I didn't go with them then because I stayed back in the US. But I communicated back then. And then they did like about 1 week left of the tour. And then at the end of that tour now, Peter decided to quit. This was 1974 now. Bunny quit in 73, Peter quit in 74. When Peter quit now, it's not just Peter alone quit now, Wire decided to leave too. Wire left to go and join a group named Taj Mahal. So Bob was only left now with the 2 Barrett brothers, just him and Family Man and Carly. to carry on the work. Everybody gone and left them. So Bob decided to listen. I'm going forward, right? So he had a lot of discussion with Blackwell, who encouraged him to, and move forward, right? So what he did is just got musicians to surround the Barrett brothers. Al Anderson was the first one. And even Tota Harvey, a lot of people don't realize that Tota Harvey was one of the keyboard men that played with him in the early stage, because when the Marvin Gaye show, Tota was on the stage. So, he decided to continue. Yes, as Bob Marley and the Wailers, because when they signed the record deal with Island, I have a copy of the contract here too. Should I bring it, show you? They signed under the banner of Bob Marley and the Wailers. They did not sign as the Wailers. They signed, and each of them signatures on the contract, right, as Bob Marley and the Wailers, right? So this myth with people talking about that is Chris Blackwell mash up the group and call it Bob Marley and the Wailers is bullshit. They've been using that name from Coxsone days, right? They've been using that name. And when they formed their own label, Wail and Soul M, they were using Bob Marley and the Wailers, right? They had their own label, Tough Gang Records, and they have it on it too, to prove everything. So nobody was forcing them to use Bob Marley and the Wailers. And if you listen to that interview that Neville Willoughby did with Bob that year, I think it was 75 or 74. It's on vinyl, you can't get it anywhere. And Neville Willoughby asked Bob, I notice, you're not being called the Wailers. You're not called Bob Marley and the Wailers. Why is that? Bob's reply was, boy, I never tell no one to call like that, But them just call like that. I don't know what kind of answer. Peter was asked the same question by Roger Stephen in an interview, and Roger Stephen didn't take up the label, Wail and Soul him, the green one, and show him. And I said, see it here, it's Bob Marley and the Wailers and your own label. And all Peter said, that's when the efforts start. Nobody explained, but they went along with it. So when they all left Bob and Carly and family, to carry on the work, Bob just decided to just get some musician, augment with the Barrett brothers, and continue under the contract when they signed, named Bob Marley and the Wailers. You see, and you can remember that Catch a Fire album came out first shaped like a cigarette lighter, but that was a collector's item. There's a certain amount was printed, And then after that, you saw the one with the picture with Bob with that spliff. I think it was Esther Anderson that took that picture, and it had Bob Marley and the Wailers on it. But I know the Catch a Fire one, they come out as the Wailers. And there's one thing people need to know, right? When the Wailers went to Coxsone in 1963 to record Simmer Down, if you notice, if you can flash back and go check your records, the first album that he put out with them, he didn't call them the Wailers. He called them the Wailing Wailers. Now, you have to understand now, Coxsone had been traveling back and forth overseas because he was part of the farmer program. So I think he must have realized that there was a group named the Wailers from 1959 in Tacoma, Washington. So he called them the Wailing Wailers. Sometimes he said the Wailing Rude Boy Wailers. And sometimes he said Bob and the Wailers. You see? So the Bob Marley and the Wailers have been used long before they meet Chris Blackwell. So that part of it is bullshit, right? So Bob just carried on and get different musicians to be a part of it and carry on. Donald Kinsey, Earl China Smith, and in 1977, I think it was Junior Marvin, he was the last one joined the group. And him just carry on now. He wanted to get the voice part of it now. Because Peter and Bunny's not there. So he went one night to a show that Marcia was doing in New Kingston at House of Chen. And she was doing a show there. So she had invited Rita and Judy to come give her some harmonies on our songs. Because I remember Marcia had a solo career long before I Trees, and from the early stage she'd been singing from in the 60s, So she was performing then, and she invited them. Bob came to the show and was in the back. I was watching them. And when they finished their performance, they were jamming, doing some sweet inspiration songs. And Sweet Inspiration have harmonies and the I cheese, them didn't know I cheese yet. Them didn't have the name. But them started to sing the whole of them songs and it moved Bob, And then he decided that he going to have them. And I think the first song they sang on was Baby, Baby, You've Got a Date. Remember that song? Rock it to me, rock it to me. Right, I think Master did 2 hours on that. And then the first album they did with him was Natty Dread. The first song they did was Natty Dread. And they came up and they did the entire album. So, the group was continued the name as Bob Marley and the Wailers, right? Which include, the band and the I Trees, right? And Bob up front. And that's what they continued and just keep plowing along. After Natty Dread, they went around and they played every crooks and crannies at some of the venue that Bunny Wailer said now play. I think Bob went inside there and played those venues, right? With the Bob Marley and the Wailers group, and keep promoting himself and promoting. All these years, Bob going out there, people think Bob was making any money. He wasn't making no money. Bob never focused on money. He said, if Donny will come, it will come. I mean, he wants to get the music out there. And 2 things he was always preaching, Rastafari and reggae music. When he said, play I and the R&B, because I want all my people to see that we're bubbling on the top 100, just like a mighty dread. And when Bob started most of his concert, he started Rastaman Vibration, So, those were the 2 elements that he was, pushing and fighting hard, to get to the top and get there, And I have to really commend him, because he worked hard. I have seen some of them myself. Worked hard to get the music out there, and he opened quite a lot of doors for a lot of people. Now, while he was out there they did 3 reunions, right, after the breakup, right, in 74, they did 3 reunions, one with Marvin Gaye, one with Stevie Wonder, and one with the Jackson 5, right, and then after that, as a matter of fact, today is the anniversary of that show with Stevie Wonder at the National Stadium, October 4th, And then after that, everybody went their separate ways. Peter went on to start his solo album. Bunny went on to do his solo album. Peter had a hit song named Legalize It, but it was banned from the radio. And they were fighting to get airplays and all that kind of stuff and so on. And, it was tough the time there, because you see that through them small acts was made with special message it was sending. If you had a big tree, then we had the small acts ready to cut, and people didn't know who was a big tree, It's not a tree you're growing, right. It was three giants. Yeah. And so if you had a big tree, we had the small acts ready to cut you down. So they started doing their solo stuff. But if you notice, Peter's first album, Legalize It, and Bunny Wailer's first album, Black Heart Man, all of the musicians them work together on everybody's album. If you look at Peter's album, you see Family Man on it to the play. You see Bunny with harmonies. So they were working together, and I think those were some of the best albums that that go out. I mean, Bunny's best album to me right now is Black Heart Man, right? And all of that album had the entire Wailers touch. Everybody played a role in it, and everybody was just helping the next one on their solo projects. So there was no hatred. I think there was love going along. No matter what people may say, they had great love between them, and they helped each other. The only thing that marveled me was, everybody was saying, Chris is this, Chris is that, but yet still everybody go back to him to do business. Because Bunny went back to him with the Black Heart Man album. And people must understand another thing too, which was a little confusing, right? It was Bunny Wailer's first, He was calling himself Bunny Wailers, which put a little confusion out there in the market, because you have the Wailers, you have Bob Marley and the Wailers, and now you have Bunny Wailers. There was 3 entities out there. Then after a while, him take off the S and say Bunny Wailer. And he struck a deal with with Chris, and he gave him the Black Heart Man album. That was a surprise thing to a lot of people, because you say the man is not honest and the man is this, is that, and you're styling the most, whatever way. But you go back and do business with him, you know, and so on. And you go back at a later date and do business again with another project, you know. So, you know, it was, those days back in the 70s was really, reggae was getting a lot of attention from around the world. Groups were popping up. Record labels was piling in Jamaica. I mean, Virgin Records come man and them set up in a Sheraton hotel, and the line was long, you know, signing groups like crazy. Even Sly was the first drummer to get an album deal, you know. Sly, Slick and Wicked with Virgin. You know, you got a 3-album deal with Virgin. And I remember when Sly get him advance, man, him go straight down a Channel 1 and start the more tune. And he reinvest it. Either him think some man, other man go buy a car. Me remember one time, I say, one artist have 2 cars, him go and drive one by day and one by night. When they get the advance and everybody a flash round, because big money a drop. Richard Branson and his boys were in town, you know, and everybody line up, man, albums like crazy. Them a take and thing, and Virgin now become the next competitor to Island, you know. Mighty Diamonds was signed to Virgin. I think Big Youth, Gregory Isaac, no, Gregory, yeah, at one point, and a lot of artists. As a matter of fact, I think Virgin took Peter's album for the UK, you know, while I think CBS took it for the US, you know, and everybody was getting album deals now, and other indie labels from America started to fly down and sign up people like crazy. So everything was going, reggae was just the thing now, you know. And I was working with the Mighty Diamonds when they just signed to Virgin. And I remember we were going to do our first tour to support the album Right Time. So I decided, I spoke with Richard Branson, and I said, we're going to bring the Revolutionaries, because the Revolutionary from Channel 1 was the band that was pitching out the hits them, you know, with Sly and Ansel Collins and them, the Ranchy, you know, and Boogie and the whole of them, you know. But so much groups was out on the road during the summer. It wasn't much left, but Sly was at his Jamaica. You know, so I just put the band together. We had Ansel Collins, and we had Light Parks and bass, and we have Gitsy and guitar Tony Chin, you know, and we went out with the Diamonds, and we had a package with U-Roy and the Diamonds, and we went to England, you know, and boy, that was an experience, boy. That first show at the Lyceum Ballroom, and oh my God, that was something I'll never forget, you know. I mean, the headline read the next day that reggae robbers invaded Lyceum, because they had never seen, since Bob played there, no other group has ever packed out the Lyceum like what we did in 1976. And then now, this is the best part of that tour now. We played a lot of other venues and so on, you know. But Richard Branson decided to put us on a big rock festival named Reading. So we're going to play before 50,000 people. We say, yeah, man, that nice, feel good. Never know what was in store for us. That festival was headlined by Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols. You know, when you hear a group a name like that, you know what to expect, you know. And the day we arrived there, the place called this big festival. We have a picture of it, in the file, you know. And when you take a stock to art, you know, when over time, and the Diamonds run out, Natty Dread will never run away. Natty Dread will never run away. And Tabby come in, Marcus Garvey, prophesy, say, oh yeah, this is some things that come through the year. I mean, I wonder what that is red and brown. When I look, you know, is eggs and tomato, you know. The people them are fling eggs and tomato at us on the stage. No, this is a shocking experience. None of us has ever experienced this yet. So we were surprised. And Mr. Tabby looked for me like, wow, should we come off? And me don't know what to say. Because me become, it's a good thing I watch the American football, me become like a wide receiver on the stage. When me see a tomato come through the air, me catch it quick and put it on the ground and an egg come, me catch it quick before it bursts. When that time one comes, and by the time one goes, so them fling one per answer Collins keyboard. And when you look, it's splatter, and hands splatter. With tomato over empty, his hands stand up. Man in a dinner, but it's 60,000 people out there, you don't know who flinging it. And boy, at what point me never tell him to come off. And Sly said, no man, we not come off, you know. We have drive with him under them shot. And them time, you know, Sly was the drummer. You know, everybody in England hear about the Sly Down bar, you know, everybody want to, you know, come get a taste. Man sit down all at Sly foot with tape recorder, you know. I tape the rolls them, you know, under the drum, you know what I mean? And so Drummy Zebi that used to play with Aswad was one of Sly, you know, Sly inspired him a lot, you know what I mean? And he was a drummer with Aswad and then become a singer too and so on. He died, may his soul rest in peace. You know, and that was an experience that I never forget. And after a while, after about the fourth songs, we noticed the eggs and the tomato stopped coming to the stage. Them are fling now those on the right, I fling it to those on the left, and those on the left, I fling it to. So the tomatoes, them I go so. And I remember looking in the audience and I saw Jojo from Channel 1 and John Holt was in London and then come at the show, man, and I see them have to run when eggs now start to fling back. You know. And it's funny, you know, after about the fifth, sixth song, we just had the audience and the palm away on. And everybody a rap now. They may not understand the Marcus Garvey thing. When the right time come and all them things and so on, you know. So, you know, it was a new experience for us. But we felt great that we conquered. So, that night, now, Mr. Richard Branson now, you know, time was about in my 20s. Young boy them time there, you know, he used to ride a little bike, come to work, you know. Took a 3 days to find out who is Richard Branson. Because we look for this man with his suit, come to work every day. We pass him sit down on a little quickly. Bike outside, I never realized that was Richard, you know. And I said to Richard, why you put us on a show like this? You never know. The people them coming with eggs and tomato. Wait, is a Hamlet, them don't want to make out away. And him laugh, you know, and say, well, you know, these are the shows that you have to get the break on, you know, because these are the fans that support reggae. You know, the rock fans was the one that support reggae in the early stage. You know what I mean? So, you know, you have to appease them and so on. You know, why? You know, it was an experience, but we felt great. And we felt good, you know. And then, you know, the Diamonds just took off from there. And, you know what I mean? As a matter of fact, while we were in London, he didn't bother put us in a hotel. And he rent a 6-story house, a complete house. Everybody on a different floor for them own self, you know. I may tell you something. Them stock the house with food. Food galore. Never in Square, if I can't remember the place in London, man. King Sounds and Trevor. May his soul rest in peace to his past. Trevor was handling the food, man, and take care of things, man. And every artist in London used to pass through where we stay. Because food is 24/7, Chosen Few, Alton Ellis, you name them. Everybody come through, you know, and so on. So it was a big family thing. And we felt good, you know, and so on. And then we come out. Then now, after that, I started working with Peter on his solo career now. And I think I was recommended to Peter's then manager, which was Herbie Miller, by Sly and Robbie, because they wanted somebody to be a personal assistant to Peter, because Peter had so much needs that he needs somebody to just take care of his needs. And the fact that I was a Boy Scout and I can cook and everything, you know, Sly them say, yeah man, you know, me are the right person. So the lady that worked with Herbie Miller named Teresa Del Posa, Sly them give her my number. She called me and she said they want, you know, everybody said they want me to come and join the thing. And I said, fine. So I joined up as a personal assistant to Peter Tosh. Not the other thing that I became later on, you know. And it was a challenge for me because I had to take care of his food, his clothes, get him ready for his appointment, his interviews, and all that stuff, you know. I had to do all of that, you know. And it was a challenge. The challenge that I faced, though, is that Peter eat ITEL food. And I have never cooked ITEL food yet. So the first thing that hit me, you know, when I joined up now, we were doing a weekend stand at Martha's Vineyard, where Carly Simon lives. And would you believe it? Peter is a man love fishing. You know, October is his sign. You know, his birthday is on October 19, and when October is rainy month, you know, and Peter will on the water. Peter went out on a lake that evening to fish. Cause he love to fish, you know. And he come back in the night with a whole heap of fish. And him come in my room and give it and say, boy, steam them down with crackers and okra. It's like the man just talk a different language to me, right? So, but we can't say I don't know how to do it. So I say, yeah, man, I didn't know how to start. So I called my mom in New York. And I said, Mom, you have to direct me how to steam fish with crackers and okra. You know, and no salt. She said, oh, you mean no salt? So you eating fresh food? I said, no, the person I'm cooking for don't eat salt. She said, what? You know, how you eat fresh food? I said, listen, that's what it is. Just tell me, my mother run it through me, you know. And give me, man, and thing, man, and so on. I just follow instruction. Everything, man, and have it done, man, when it's steamed down and thing, man. And later in the hours, Peter passed through the room, you know. I smell it, you know what I mean, and come in and, yeah. You know, but for me, you know, me have a little jar of salt when I buy and hide it and everything. So when mine when I show out now, him take him when I'm gone in room, me just throw the salt on mine because me couldn't eat the fresh food at all. You know? so that was a great experience for me there, you know, and I started and then now, because I used to MC the shows them with diamonds and so on, you know, them said me must introduce Peter at night. You know what I mean? So I had a task of doing the MC and at the same time the personal assistant to Peter. So what we used to do now, I would jump in a town, you know, check him into the hotel, I go down to the venue, make sure his dressing room is fine, it has all his stuff that he requires, him hot milk and so on, and blah, 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 you know, and you know, then I come back to the hotel, put on the food. Him like soup and him like porridge. Always like that. So it was easy for me, you know, and so on. And then when we go back to the venue, I introduce the group. If you listen to most of Peter's performance, and you hear the MC interview is me, I start to coin some ways where I list the songs them and I find some nice ways how to introduce him, different from the regular MCs them. So people start to love it. That I become almost a part of the act now. You know what I mean? Sometimes we go to a city and them have a local MC and the MC want it and them say no, you know, everybody say no, Abdul have to do it because they call me Abdul, you know, I used to dress like African. When I'm on tour, you know, I have African outfit to dress, you know. So Sly and Robbie give me that name, Abdul, you know. And so I'm Freddie the same thing too. Anybody call me Abdul, know from whence it came. You know, and then we started touring. You know, and I'm working with Peter. It was a great experience for me, you know, because that was the first time actually, you know, I get into Madison Square Garden. A lot of people don't realize that Peter played Madison Square Garden too, and a No New concert, you know, and that was great, you know. Peter played it 77. Bob played it 78. No, I think it's 79 Peter played it. Bob played it 78. Headline it with Stanley Clarke open, and then Bob went back and played it with the Commodores in 1981. You know, so all of that was a great experience for me. And then from there, though, I start to move up the rank now because I get to understand the whole thing. And then after we did that 1981 tour, right? We did a 1981 tour. Right after the end of the tour, well, Peter and his management had some falling out, you know, and apparently they went their separate ways. During Peter's off time, I was working with Jimmy Cliff. I was working from one group to the other, you know, because every group wanted me because they said this guy knows the road inside out, you know, and I have to lift my hat to Don Taylor, you know, because Don Taylor taught me a lot, irrespective of whatever people want to say. He was one of the most experienced managers ever come into reggae business, right? He taught me a lot, right? Working with Don Taylor and Danny Sims, the two Dons them, and a little Russia from Don King, I am the luckiest man on the planet Earth because I get to be associated with three Dons in music. You know, Don Taylor, Danny Sims, and Don King. And Donnie Simpson from Washington, D.C., right? The top DJs. So I was just lucky to experience it. But Dan Taylor taught me a lot, you know, because when I started working with Jimmy Cliff, you know, I mean, you know, he was the manager then because he had split from Bob. And then I was a tour manager, and he realized that I'm quick to learn, and I listened to him, and he taught me a whole bunch of things. One thing will never leave my mind. Dan said, when you go into a venue, never present yourself to a promoter like a peanut vendor. Look astute. Look like a businessman. Because the first thing they want is on your spliff or a joint to test you out to see where it is, and you just act business-like. And when they say you're about business, then they will look up to you. But if you start going like, you know, you're a peanut vendor, you're going to get peanut vendor treatment, you know. And I learned quite a lot from Dan, you know, during that, you know. So I have to lift my hat to him. You know, I mean, we had a fallout, you know, in the end, you know, that I had to leave Jimmy, you know, through him. But, you know, I mean, you know, you have differences. People have different part of him. And I learned the best part of him. And it helped me throughout my musical journey. So rest in peace, Brother Dan Taylor. You did your work, you know, irrespective of what it is and so on. We had our differences, but, you know. And I went along working with so many different groups. Listen, I have worked with about 98% of the groups in many different ways. You know, I mean, road manager, tour manager, manager, booking agent, you know, tour organizer. At one point, I was wearing so many caps, you know, because everybody wanted me to work with them in many different ways. Even promoters overseas, people tell them that if you want to get a group out of Jamaica and you're sure the group is going to show up, this is the man you must talk to, you know, because I had this kind of relationship, a good relationship with the artists them in Jamaica. That's one thing I have to call it. I couldn't be where I'm at now without the artists, you know. I mean, it's my interaction with them and working with them built me to the state of where I'm at now. So I have to be grateful for all of that, you know. So there were so much experiences working with, I mean, you know, it would take me hours to really go through everything. But I'm going to come now to the book, because all that I've spoken about is embodied inside this book, Reggae My Life Is. Now, this is a book now that I started from the year 2002. And it came about because there was so much things I read in here and there, and so much stories, and people say all the different things them, and they weren't there. I was privileged and lucky that I was there and present at most of these things that are happening, you know. And I'm glad that I'm still living, that I can talk about it. I don't have to listen to what nobody say. I can talk about what I see and what I hear come out of people's mouth. When I talk, is what I hear come out of their mouth and what I see with what they do. So I can talk, you know what I mean? I have the authority. And it came about in 2002 when I was putting together a tour to celebrate my 40th anniversary. And I had Stone Love as representing Sound System, Toots, Tony Rebel, Luciana, Israel Vibration, Shakadimo Sampliers. At some of the dates I had in Morgan Heritage, and we wanted a dancehall artist. There was so much dancehall, but we wanted somebody who can cut it through in the United States, which is the biggest market. And there was a little group named Tonto Metro and Devante, who had a single that was mashing up the charts them and getting airplay across the states. So my booking agent, you know, said to me, Peter Swart said, you know, try and get this group. When I realized they were part of the Shocking Vibes artist lineup. So I had to go up to Shocking Vibes to talk to their management team. And who I ran into was the great Clyde McKenzie, who was part of the management team, because Beanie Man was the top act there, you know. So I keep going up there in the evenings to talk to Clyde about, you know, the service of Tonto Metro and Devante. But Clyde is always on the phone, you know, because Beanie Man was hot then, you know, and he's the point man that everybody called from overseas. So he's always busy. So while he's busy there, I am, like how we're talking now, I was just talking and giving stories about the history of the music, and everybody was elated when they sit around. And there was a guy there named Howard McIntosh, who was affiliated with the Reggae Boys and Sports. Everybody know him. And he was there sitting listening, you know. And after a couple of evenings, well, him said to me, Boy, there's so much great stories I hear you talk about, you know. Why you don't just put them on a tape? I say, you know, he said, no, I'm going to put them on a tape because one day you're going to need them to write a book and him come the next day with a tape. I will start to tape them, and that was the start of the idea of doing the book. You know, and we started out, you know, I remember we had our first meeting on a Devon House, you know, me and Clyde, you know what I mean, and Clyde, the reason why I picked him, he was the perfect person for it. He had some of the experience I had, because he grew up in Jonestown too, you know, right? And they had a youth club over there that his sister, Shereen McKenzie, was running to. So, you know, and his father and his family so affiliated to the same kind of bringing up that I went through. So he was a perfect person. And he's a good scholar, you know, he's a graduate from George's, you know, where, you know, it was George's and Casey was the duel them time there, you know, and so on. So he was a kind of like the perfect person, and we just bounced our head together and started. And we started from 2002, but because I was so busy running up and down around the world, you know, with tours and things and so on, you know, we didn't get time to really finish it. And it was when the pandemic kicked in, and we said, you know, let's finish the book. We started this long time ago, let's finish it. And we just put our heads to the wheel, you know, and I sit down at nights. People will realize the amount of nights I'm going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, because I started out narrating it through a voice thing, but sometimes the voice pick up something different. So what I had to do is sit back and throw my thoughts back to such and such a year. You have these things and throw it back, and I write them, sit and write them, all the stories, you know, and then I would send them off to Clyde, and then Clyde, you know, being the great scholar, he would, you know, change up some of the things, take out some of the things I don't need to spend a lot of time. I could use 4 lines and talk about this one thing, but to me, he's such a detailed person, you know, him can use one word and it cover all 6 lines, you know. So I learned a lot from him during that kind of course, you know. Clive was really, you know, a right hand there for me, you know. So he's not just a ghostwriter, he's a co-writer, so to speak, with me. You know, I can tell the stories, but when I tell it to him, he knows how to put it together. We work diligently along with Maxine McDonough, who is the sister of Marcia McDonough, that works with Sunsplash and Sumfest, you know. And that was a team of us, you know, that work hard at nights, you know what I mean? I remember the first time we were going through a certain amount of chapters. It took us 3.5 hours on the phone, you know, non-stop, you know. We were just going through, because when I write the story and send it to them and they edit it, they read it back to me to make sure so we don't lose the focus of the story, because sometimes they may rewrite and change it and it go off, and I say, no, bring it back, no, this is what happened, and so on. So it was a great experience and a great team, you know, that come together to put the book together. And believe you me, the amount of stories that were written, all of them is not in this book, you know. You know what I mean? Because we couldn't put all of them in the book. There were so many, you know, that a lot were left out. Some was deliberately left out because we didn't want it to look like, you know, we were pitching on any one person. Because what I did, I had to talk about some of the errors that some of the legends make during the journey, so the young ones coming up don't make the same mistake, you know. So I would talk about like a tour and what happened on the tour. Like everybody who have read it so far, intrigued when they read the story with the Greg Rags, like tour, you know, and the Dennis Brown, you know what I mean, and so on. But it was a real thing. It's not something that I make up. I just replay it back and put it in writing so people can see it. You know, and everybody is elated about it, because they said just reading it is like they are seeing a movie going along, you know what I mean? And so it's very intriguing, and I was very happy, you know, and even up to this moment, I'm very happy about it. You know, it has drawn a lot of attention from not just Jamaica, but around the world. More attention is coming from around the world than even in my country. But the reason for that, a lot of people in Jamaica don't even know about it yet. Some of them don't even get it yet. You know, some people are telling me they can't get it in Jamaica. They have to order it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble. But the book is to educate, illuminate, and to eradicate. Educate people and the young ones about the do's and don'ts of the business, right? Eradicate the negatives, So we don't continue, because nobody's perfect. Everybody make mistakes, right? So we correct the mistakes and illuminate now to enjoy and make the music be glorified, that, yes, everybody can enjoy it. So if a man, much artists see me and say, boy, I know you must have something inside about me, Let me get a peep before it goes, Because them things, I'm going to talk about the backside of them. It's not, putting down nobody, I mean, everybody make errors. The Wailers made errors. When they signed with Island Records, they should have signed Tough Gang Records for the services of the Wailers. But they signed directly as Bob Marley and the Wailer, right? If they have signed with a registered company, because they had a company named Tough Gang Records, which was registered. I have all the registration there in the file. I'm going to just take a picture of them so you can even show it up at later days so people can see what I'm talking about, So that was a great mistake they made, but you can't blame them. They were young and inexperienced then, right? Mistakes will be made. Even right now, this saga that is going on about the electric boogie, Sister Marsha Griffiths made some interviews, and she voiced her opinion on certain things that I can attest to were facts, because I was right there, And, we just want to kind of set that record straight, because a lot of people still don't understand what actually went down, But that song, Electric Boogie, which I just spent 5 minutes talk about quickly, because it's a very long saga, right, was written by Bunny Wailer, recorded with Marcia and Bunny Wailer. Marcia had most of the lead voice. Bunny said, "Dig Miss Kelly with electric belly, she's moving with electric, she sure got the boogie." And Marcia did all of that. Now, he produced it, he wrote the song, and he's part of the artist on it. So he has 3 involvement. Marcia is just a singer. He took the song to Chris Blackwell. Chris loved it and said, yes, this could be a good leader song for an album, right? And take it, and gave him funds to go and do an album, because record companies don't just sign somebody for a single. Album is what sell and make money. Right, and gave him funds to go and produce an album. He never produced the album and gave it to Chris. I personally asked him that myself, and he told me out of his mouth that the reason why he didn't do it is that Blackwell owes him money from Wailer's era, so he just hold on upon that money, right, for that. Now, this is 2 different things, but some people think that way. Okay, Blackwell is a businessman, right? He have 3 businesses with He have Wailer's business, he have Buddy Wailer business, and he have the electric boogie business. So him not have nothing. Anyone sell, them cross-collateralize him, just take it from the source. Because if you get an advance and you don't turn over the thing, you can't say a red cent till all of that is recouped. Master never received a dime from him, nothing during that period. 7 years later, the song took off. The same song of Bunny produced now took off with a dance named Electric Slide. We were in the Sunsplash store, that major Sunsplash store, 1989, and we got a call from Dr. Dredd in Washington, D.C., who told us that the song took off with a dance. So it get another lease of life, and it's selling like crazy, So you guys better know how to do it, do the dance, and better have it in your repertoire when you come to D.C. We never have it on the program. But we had to get it, so we asked him to send me a cassette. In FedEx, we had a cassette with it, and we learned the song. Luckily, a cut was on it, what we call TV track, just the music without lead voice. So we had to start using that, because it was the 809 band on the tour. And we didn't have much time to go, at words, because it's scheduled tight. But as you go along, the band get to learn it and, master it good as you go along. But we're using the tracks, And when you look, especially when you get to Washington, man, out at the arm, I can't remember the venue, amphitheater. I used about 20,000 people out there dancing in a line. And I was standing and I said, wow, this is great. So I took up the phone now, and I called Bunny myself. And I said to him, Jabby, the song Boss, you get another lease of life in it, It have a dance named Electric Slide to it, and everywhere, it a play everywhere. So I think your master should have do a video and promote it. Because him have all forget, him have the producer, the writer, and the artist. So him say, yeah man, when you coming down? Mr. When tour finish, him say, all right. When the tour finish, I come down, we go and do the video because them time to know, through Michael did breakthrough for MTV with back videos can't play now. So this with a dance, so we sure go and mash up the place. March when the tour done, I'll never forget the tour ended in New York, and me and Master went down to the village, and Master was spending big money buying outfits for the video. Who for outfit and thing, you know what I mean, and so we got down to Jamaica, and we couldn't find money. We don't know when there were call cars, you can't get him on the phone. So she was booked for the Sunsplash in Montego Bay. So while we were on our way to Sunsplash in Montego Bay, we were coming down South Road from Trafalgar Road to go past Constant Spring Road to go down, so we can't catch the highway. So, and we got stuck in traffic on South Road, you know, traffic all the way there. And we looked to the left where Lenny looked white at a place. I forget what it name, Media Mixer or something like that. And we see some people inside there doing the dance. So I said to Master, but wait, so some people that do the dance inside there, say, make a go in and go see is what. So we're driving down there, we see Bonnie Jeep, the orange Jeep. So I see him brethren sit down and I, Chilbo. We never see Bonnie. I say, Chilbo. And I ask him, what's going on here? He said, them go do the video for Electric Boogie. So I said, oh, you not tell me nothing. He said, you mean tell you nothing? Because him shock him, I wonder where them up him to tell you. And him thinks we know what was going on. So after we go through a long discussion, him say, wait, Jabby never tell us him do over one for himself. I say, you mean do over one for himself? Why want to do over one for himself? Because him produced the one that kick off with the dance, and him sing on it, and him write the song. So why would I want to go compete against him own self? And I say, you sure? And him play it every year. And I see the people man do the dance, and them I get ready for go to the video. So we drove out of the yard, and we drove down to Montego Bay. We were shocked. And I started to wonder, why? You don't want to do one new one by yourself. It's not that it. It's the one where you produce it. And when you take a start, we was wondering, so we go to Montego Bay and come back. I call Chris in England and tell him about it. And he said, what? So why did it over? I said, I don't know. And he said, oh my God, you know. And then he said, okay, he's going to New York, and we can meet him in New York, right? And we said, fine. So we flew up to New York, and he had a meeting with his A&R staff. I remember Night Nurse was working with Island then. What her name is again? Night Nurse. You know who the lady, yeah, in New York, work on the radio station. Amy. She was in the meeting too, right? And Jerry Rappaport and some other people. And then he asked them how much this song is selling. And they say about 60 to 70,000 a week. So BM say, imagine, we have a song still doing that numbers without any form of promotion. And you guys sit doing nothing, and Chris was kind of mad. You know, and he took up the phone and he called Miami and speak to some guys that from Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan, musician them. You have a group of guys inside and named the Jerks. You know, Joe and Vigil, you know, Joe Galdo, you know, and Lawrence Derma, you know. And he asked them if they're free. They say, yes. He said, I'm going to send them a cassette for you, right? And I want to do it over and put on all the modern sounds on it and send them the cassette to Miami of Electric Boogie, right? And send it down. Or get them. And then them clap over the rhythm. And then we must go back to Miami. We went to International Sound Studio and Master put on the lead voice. Now, the plan was to fly in the spot where Bonnie voice, where him say, dig Miss Kelly with the electric, Bella, she's moving with the electric, she sure got the boogie. That was the plan. So Chris flew down, and we sit in the studio, and when Chris hear the quality and the no sound out of it, him say, you know, I can't understand why Bonnie would want to do over one by himself without him telling Marcia or telling anybody. But you know why, you know why he did it over? But he went to Camperdown, you know, and him always figure say him is smart, the smartest one in the group. Him know now, so if him promote that one where him produce, him write, and him sing pan, which is the one that take off with the dance, him not going to see a dime until the money that he got to produce the album, which him never did, and give them, is recoup. Him figure now, if him do over one for himself, by himself, where him have total control of everything, him going to get everything. Which is a selfish move, you know what I mean, for a Rasta man and treat him schoolmate like that. Forget about me. You know what I mean? But Master is a woman where would I do anything for Jabi. Him then pay the courtesy to him, inform her. I said, we are going to do it over. We just find out. So we find out now. He said, so Chris said, you know something? We don't want him to have anything to do with this due production with Master by herself. Him is the writer, you can't take with that. So he said, we must audition some people now to do that part. I remember we tried Jamusa. We tried John T. We tried another black American guy, I can't remember. They even tried me. Because me rehearse it whole day, you know. You know, me rehearse it and me have it pat. But by the time they reach me about 3-4 o'clock in the morning at the studio, you know what I mean, boy, them say my one couldn't work neither. And the producers come out of the studio and say, you know what, forget about that. Master, I'm going to let you do what is known as a speed rap. And we are sitting there one day, what the hell him talking about? Him say, listen to me now. This is what I want you to say at that spot. I want you to say, they got me sakele with the bundle of the chip, she's a moving along, she sure got the boogie. They got me sakele with the bundle of the chip, and until I keep doing it over and over. And she do about 10 of them. They just keep going, and him take about 10 takes of them. And him find the best one and fly another spot there. And him say, okay, man, put a difference to the song now. So me was there, my son Copeland Forbes was there, and Danny Minto, which is Master Griffith's nephew, you know, Skip Marley father, he was in the studio with us. And him call us now, and we are the ones who do the part. We say, it's electric. We do all of that part. For the beginning and throughout the songs, and then in the end now, we did Dondela Dondelo. You know, it's a Spanish word, because I want to put little flavors to it, you know. And then when we done that, they mix it the night, and the next day, the song was ready to hit the road, and them just let it out on the market and pull off the one where Chris pulled on the one that Bunny had a game, right? And the one now, the Pan Mango Island record now, the new one, with she alone singing, right? And when they have not to do the production, but just the writing of the song. And that is the one that lasts from 1990 until today, where everybody here. So it's not no remix of version. It was 3 different versions was done. The one that Bunny Wheeler produced, write, and be a part of. Him go one by himself to compete against him own self. But, you know, it's because him know whatever do. And then afterward, the third one is what Master did solely, and that's the one that lasts from 1990 until now. And that's when Master started to get some money now, because I had to do a new contract, because that song became part of an album named Carousel. If you go and Google Carousel, you will see it. And if you go and look at the credits on the album, you see my name, Danny's name, and Colin's name on it. Right? We weren't paid yet. We didn't pay him a union rate until it's very dear, you know. But because family and thing, you know, we just make it roll and so on. But that is how that part actually come out. So we want to set the record straight, so people don't think that you're dishing on a man and him is not here. Because I say people go on the internet and say, why to bring up now when the man not here to defend himself? It come up many times. If you go on your Google, Ratatam Festival, where Master was performing in 2019, you should talk about it, right? And 2016 too. She talk about it there and then, you know. So, you know, and she do interviews for TVJ and all this, and she talk about it too, right? She received nothing from Bunny. She could not be getting money directly from Island, you know, because she never signed an agreement. So this is somebody put there, said she was getting. Oh, she forget it, right? And she never had an agreement. A Salamanic production was a production. Any money I paid the Salamanic production. Because Master him tell me that one time she get a call from Neville Lee, run a Sonic Sound, and say, a check come there. And Master go and she said, she said, everything is for that. But he said, well, look, Salamanic production, upon it. Master can't do nothing with that. She's not Salamanic production. When Master started to get royalties now, is when I did a new contract in 1990, right, for Carousel album, which includes the now version of it. That's when she started to get royalties from it, right? But none for the 7 years from him. And that's what, when she talk, that's what she's talking about. So people need to understand that part, and stop talking about, you talk about it now and the person not here to defend himself and all them kind of crap there. But them don't know the story. With them here and that, the story not change because that happened. That is the reality, right? And if them want to go Google, them can see some of the singles them that him did with Marcia and put it on Solomonic label and release them locally. And them times, you must remember now when record companies sign an act, those times, them leave out the West Indies, the Caribbean. Right? You have the rights to the Caribbean. So he must service in the Caribbean and shipping them out all over. And she never received one dime from him as royalty. So we just want to set that Electric Boogie story straight so people understand that part and so on. Right? I'm not going to go too long, but I'm going to pick out some very important experience in the journey, about 4 important ones that stays in my mind and will always be there. Number 1 was when I went to South Africa with Jimmy Cliff in 1980. That was an experience that I will never, ever forget because it was during the apartheid time. Nelson Mandela was still in prison, and they were offering big monies to go to what that part of South Africa where the whites were, what they call it? No man, in South Africa where they're paying big monies them time for groups to come down and perform. But we were going for a black promoter. And our venues were Soweto, right? Durban and Cape Town, right? We weren't going into the era where the casinos and the white groups were being paid big money. And I remember in Johannesburg, my first time going to South Africa in that era. And we were going to the stadium, right? And the bus came to pick us up. This guy was about a 35-year-old driver. The man said to me, he has never been to Soweto in his life. So him do him know the way, but him go have to ask as him going along. And I remember we driving to the stadium and he couldn't find him way. And we saw some little youths playing football in the dirt. And we come off of the bus and ask them the way to the stadium. And they might tell you, and I say, all right, come on the bus and direct us. So we bring them in the front of the bus and the driver driving was a nervous wreck. He had never been so close to black people yet, them tear up and thing, because when you're in Johannesburg and you look over Soweto, you can see the smog in the air, because most of wood fires over there, electricity and thing. And when the guy showed us to the stadium, man, and so on, when we got to the stadium, man, and the tunnel and the people, we realized it was Jimmy inside of the bus, man. The people them jump on the bus become a moving circle of human bodies. Human bodies inside, which is the band and the crew, but outside, you couldn't even watch the color bus car. People hang on the bus and going on the bus, on the top and the side in the front. And when we got to the tunnel, the driver stopped because he said if he tried to go through the tunnel, some of the people on the top going to get scraped off and then going to die. So he stopped at the entrance and people were jumping off at the bus stop now and jumping onto the wall. But barbed wire was around the stadium, And them trying to go through the barbed wire and the police and soldiers them have dogs, and them let off the dogs. I see a guy going through barbed wire, And the dog go ramp on the foot and I punch the dog with him right and then I try go over the wall. And people were going over the wall. Boom. And as soon as the bus stop came, take him time and go through the tunnel. So when we enter the stadium and the MC said, Jimmy Cliff has arrived. Oh my God. I've never seen anything like that. And the bus tried to get us close to the stage, but we couldn't get more than we were about like 30 yards away from the stage. Couldn't get no further, the crowd. So we stopped. So I decided to come out. I tell everybody staying, let me go out and find the promoter. Because we're going to need some security to lead us to the dressing room. Because the stadium caught now, So when I come out now, one thing we did not know, that it was illegal to wear camouflage clothes in Africa. The army camouflage clothes. Now, all of us, down to the crew, was dressed in that because Jimmy at that time had a militant attitude, And he had a song, he covered Bob Marley, No Woman No Cry, and it sold over 1 million in South Africa. So he was a big hit with that, and he had songs like Vietnam, so Jimmy was like the bongo man, with a kind of different kind of aura. So everybody was dressed in army clothes. So I come out and I went to the promoter and we talked, and I tell him that we need to have some security, and he said, okay, bring, police and soldiers. So I go to everybody now and say, listen, everybody get up now, we're gonna walk straight, nobody stop. Right, keep walking. When we alight the bus and come out, and them see we in a camouflage outfit, down to the soldier, them shocked. So everybody eye open wide, and we couldn't understand what was happening. Like them a look on them headman now, cause them a bodyguard people who not supposed to be wearing them things. They supposed to be arrested, So we went to the dressing room and I realized that they realized that the camouflage thing not going to work, and it's causing a big problem, but that's the clothes we have on. So what happened now, the head of the security now send the soldiers them on the stage now to make them surround the stage, right from left to the back, go right round with them submachine gun in hands. Now the people them didn't want to see that. Them don't want to have no look of that. Because, so them start to fling objects on the stage. Them take off them shoes. Them take off them belt. Them take anything with that weight with it. And start to fling them on the stage. And I started to tell the guys, say, listen, you can't have them up there. You have to take them down. The people don't want them. Him said, no. And them was speaking in a language named Kosar, if I can remember. Right? And he said, no, orders from headquarters. The soldier must stay up there. I said, no. And then the MC, which was a black guy, went on stage and started, ladies and gentlemen, please stop throwing the bottles and stop throwing the objects on the stage. If you don't stop, we got to call the police. Who tell him to do that? The first time in my life, I see a Coca-Cola bottle, big so. Here comes through the ear, a Coca-Cola bottle flying through the ear. And slap him down across him face. Boom! A ground. Blood. And when I saw that now, I thought riot I got broke out now, Because I figured says soldier them must start shooting now. Them are talking in this language now. Upon them two-way radio and I'm standing. I said, you have to tell them to come down. You have to tell them to come down, and them keep telling no. And I back lick him. The head one. And he start talking in language now, and and then me see him give the sign now to them. I say, come down. So all of the soldiers them come down off of the stage and go up on the ground. So the stage full of broken buckle and future shoes and anything. So I just go out now. Somebody have to go talk to the crowd. Everybody say me are the best person. I remember now when I was at Virgin. Because Virgin used to ship out a lot of records to South Africa. And them have a label named Frontline, and the symbol on Frontline was the fist in the ear like this. So I just walk out to the stage and just hold up my hand like this. And the people are just quiet. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we came all the way from Kingston, Jamaica to uplift you through the powers of reggae music. We're asking you to stop throwing the bottles, stop throwing objects on stage. We're going to clean the stage and get everything ready. And Jimmy Cliff will be here and here. Ray! I feel good, man, and I'm cleaning out the stairs. Good, man, and then Jimmy just says, bam, I hit the stairs. And when Jimmy hit the stage, my God, whoo! We have a clippings of it, though. I have to, if you can't get to show it, man, I tell you. But you can Google it. It's unbelievable. People were just jumping. And, he sang, Mama, look at the mountain. No woman, no cry, and everything was just perfect. I mashed down the show, man, and when the show done, we're in the dressing room and we say, no, before the show finished, people were trying to get to the stage, right? And the security keeping them off. And we had one of our roadies, a white guy named Ketch Kelly. Never forget it. He worked with Bob. He worked with all the reggae groups. He's very good on stage. So he had to be going back and forth to the stage because our engineer named Daniel Williams, which is Dennis Williams' relative, I think he's our uncle or so, Dan had him as the engineer. And he was scared. He pack up him things and run from the mixing board. He say he never see so much angry people yet. You know, so when him start to fling the thing, him run. So Ketch had to be going back and forth. So Ketch run out to the mixing board to say something to the guy that mixing and come back to the stage. Ketch couldn't come back on the stage. Every time he climb up on the stage, them fling him off. And we have to run to the people and the police and say, no. He said, no, who is this guy? I said, he's our technician. You're a technician? And a man looked at me and said, my brother, are you telling me you bring a white man here with you? You know? I said, it has nothing to do with color. He's our technician, our senior technician. You know? And he's the one that make all of this, all that him couldn't have. Him just keep looking and Ketch come on and do him work and one look and thing and so on. Ketch is one of the top technician man who have a big place in New Jersey now, working, Ketch Kelly, you know. So it was a great experience for us. And I remember now, we stand up at the stage and then we see a rope come down in the middle of the stage. And I look up, I said to Newton, which is Jimmy Cliff's nephew, what a rope you for? When we realized, I see a man just slide on the rope. You know the man, the man hook the rope from the back of the stage. That them hook like when in the army and you climb up mountain, it hook. And he fling it over to the front of the stage. And come down on the rope, boom, in front of Jimmy. And him have a shield and a sword in his hand. And the security them run to him and me just tell him, so, wait, leave him alone. Let me show him do. And him kneel on a Jimmy foot. And him a kiss Jimmy foot. And the man a cry, living in water, you know. He's a Zulu warrior, you know. And the man a cry. And the man a hug up Jimmy. And him just present Jimmy with the shield and the sword. You know what I mean? And him just stand up beside Jimmy and just and the crowd I say, yeah. And we just leave him there. You know, till when the show done. And we all in the dressing room. And him come and he tell you, say, it's 15 miles away him live. And him run through the jungle. Him do have no money and him put blood up. You know, where the dog them bite him and jump over the wall. Him says Jimmy's music liberate him. When him hungry and in the mountains them is reggae music. And he said Jimmy music liberate him. So Jimmy couldn't come and him not come. Him have to find a way and him design a way how to get to Jimmy. You know, and we sat there with him and the man just crying, looking at Jimmy and just crying. I can't believe him sitting with the man with full in belly of music when him hungry. You know, that's what he said. When I'm hungry, I just listen to Mr. Cliff and I'm filled, you know. So that was a great experience with Jimmy there now. And the last one we did know there now is an incident that happened now. The promoter told us from we land there that don't take nothing. If you're caught with marijuana in South Africa, then you get 15 to 20 years in prison. You know, and this is Africa, you know what I mean? So the promoter tell me to tell all the man who must smoke herb, don't take nothing from nobody, not even a black man, because the authorities will use black people to get to you. So don't take nothing. So all the man in the group will smoke herb, you know, we tell them. So at night the promoter will come and him go in and brief and take out a plastic bag, you know, and all the herb man will want them split them little split, forget it and so on, you know. Well, one day one of them going to do an interview and them give me 3 spliffs to keep. Them didn't want to go out on the street, so I put it in the side of my jeans pocket. You know, the pocket, jeans with the pocket on the side. I put it inside there, you know. I take out that jeans that night and put it down and never wear it again. Till when we leave in Cape Town, because the last show was in Cape Town, right? And we're going from Cape Town to Buenos Aires and from Buenos Aires to Brazil, because we have another tour in Brazil for Godot. And when I'm coming through the security, the alarm went off. And the alarm went off, you know, and boy, I didn't know what happened. So the soldier, them time the soldier man the airport, you know, with them submachine guns, you know. So he come up and he said, you have something in your pocket. So me this banana go in my pocket and me look, me feel a 3 spliff. You know, and the soldier stand up on me, you know, and I feel the 3 spliff, and I just move my hand so, and then I feel the room key, because the room key did upon a nice little lock, a little thing there, and we keep them a souvenir, but it's metal. So we come out with it now, you know, I hope that somebody sees them, each hand pan all the room key and the lock, you know, the little lock on it. So, him say, put it in a tray, and put it in a tray, and then after, him say, go through. And I go through, I'm in a year, the alarm go up, Jesus, kingdom. I grab up the keys, man, and I move to the plane like rocket. you know, just to get out. Because I started thinking, I said, can you imagine if them find the tree spliff? Me go on a Robbins Island, go and join Nelson, you know, and stay inside there. And when I come out, left me inside there, because I'm going to get 15 to 20 years of time there, you know, and so on. And then come out 92, you know. So I would have stayed inside there. But that was a great experience in South Africa. And another thing that created history down there was while we were in Cape Town and we were out on the road, our bassman, Jimmy Senior Ains, was walking down the road and saw this guy playing a guitar. And him said, boy, the kind of notes of the guy play, he never hear no man play guitar like that yet. And he bring the guy come back to the hotel and he bring it to my room. And I sit down with him and I carry him go down to China room. You know, because China always have him guitar inside there, play, you know. And I said, China, that youth can play guitar, and China and the youth sit down and them lick it up nice and good and so on. And Senior come to me and say, boy, this guy is too great, man. We have to find a way to get him out of South Africa. You know, no matter what, we can't leave him, we have to find a way. And you know who that guy turned out to be? The great guitarist named Jonathan Butler. Right now he's living in the United States now. As a matter of fact, he came to Jamaica on one of the jazz fests one year, you know, and so on. He's one of the greatest guitarists now, you know. So, you know, I mean, you know, reggae music discovered him in South Africa because he was able to get to the UK and lived in the UK for a while, and then he come to the US and he start to grow and grow and grow, you know. So, you know, that South Africa trip was great. And you know something? After the first 3 days, you know, everywhere we go, we do sightseeing, we see the same set of people them following us. And you always see a man with a newspaper like him, read the newspaper, you know, and so on. And I start to wonder, I say, you know, so everywhere we go, we see the same set of man there. And then we went into a park to take some pictures. And the whole of the fans them here carry around, and then soldier come and break it up. And the soldier says it's not allowed, black and white are not allowed to mix. So we said, we are just taking pictures. And he said, no. It's not allowed, you know. And then we found out now that we were being watched because what they saw in the stadium, that never happened. During the concert, black, whites, Indians, and Kosa, everybody all hand together and a dance and a go around, and that shocked the authorities because they've never seen that yet. So reggae music brought the people of South Africa during the apartheid era together in the stadium. You know, I have that, the clippings can show anytime where people can see them all hands and a dance. And that was what rattled the head of these people. That 6 months later, I applied for a visiting visa to go back to visit friends. And I was denied. And it's somebody on the inside of the embassy tell me, so you're qualified, Mr. Forbes, but the reason why you were denied, they said you were part of that group that went down there and liberate the people and unite them. You know, so them now send me down there, you know. And so I realized that I was prevented from getting a visa, you know, to go to South Africa to visit friends and so on. So that was a great experience for me, you know, and it helps to motivate me that I can talk about it today. It's an experience I'll never forget. And when I see Nelson Mandela got freed and he came to Jamaica, you know, I was so honored and pleased that I witnessed it myself right there, you know, that I could have joined him, you know, serving time there, you know, because of but our music did such great work, you know, to help to liberate people down in South Africa. To know artists are going to South Africa in and out, no one thing, and you know, it's free up and one thing and so on. So it was a great experience for me. So, you know, the book has all these stories, you know, and as I said, you can get it on Amazon, you know, and Barnes and Noble, you know, and people in Jamaica, you know, you can check Down Sound Book Publishing at 22 Belmont Road, where you can get the book, you know, but you must get this book because it tells the true story. It's the history of the music, the players, the people involved, outside people who are not physically involved, but it gives a true story, and it educates, as I said, eradicate and illuminate. Right? So I'm going to close off now, right? And I would like to thank everybody who tuned in tonight to watch this little episode. Yes, I apologize for the technical glitches that happened up front, but we cannot control lightning and thunder and when the internet goes down, you know. So we suffer that because, you know, we have been receiving heavy rains and bad weather in South Florida. You know, we suffered a little of that, you know. But nevertheless, you got it. It's better late than never. And I'm happy that I was able to talk on Irie Times. And I must extend my profound gratitude to Mr. Leroy Dreamy Riley, who afforded me this occasion and this opportunity to tell this short story and to tell you about the book that everyone should get. To miss is to this. So make sure you get the book. Reggae My Life is on Down Sound Book Publishing Limited. And I would like to thank the team of Joe Bogdanovich, who is the publisher, Raybirds, the co-publishers, Clive Mackenzie, co-writer, and just about everything, Maxine McDonough, right, and Juanita Reed Forbes. She played a great role in analyzing some of the stories too, and my family, you know, who was there for me throughout the journey and helped me to put it together. And when I say family, not just my blood family, but my musical family, you know, everybody that I've worked with. And in closing, I would just like to thank all the artists who I have worked with, even those I have not worked with directly, but they gained from my work and experience. You know, I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to sit here and talk about a musical trade. I want to thank all the members of the Boy Scout who groomed me and trained me and prepared me for this occasion. And I encourage all the youths them, please be a member of a Boy Scout troop or a youth club, because that's how I was able to reach this point, because I was trained and learned and prepared by my scoutmaster, Sir B, popularly known as Robert Blackman. So thank you, muchas gracias, tenestilent, avwa, Shabbat Shalom, Gizai Gizun. In Jamaica, we say, we're gone.
Thank you so much, Copeland, and we indeed thank you for being here on IrieTimes.com. And that's not even a quarter,
right,
of your story.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's so many things to be told.
There's a lot more to be told, but guess what? They might come with a part 2.
Yes, definitely. We're going to have a part 2 and a part 3, you know,
yes,
because this is just not all.
Because
you know?
all they did was just cover Bob,
yes,
Peter, and Bunny.
Right, and there's so many
John
others.
Holt.
We have Third World.
You
have Dennis Brown. But because I don't want to talk about all of them, because once they get the book now.
Get the book.
Right, and when I come back to do a part 2, now, a lot of them, if they get the book now, they would see the stories and would say, yes, you know, it's there, you know.
Indeed.
So it's to just educate, eradicate, and to illuminate.
And
right?
my pictures are in there too. Some of my pictures are in there. Huh? Some of my photographs.
Yes,
are
I
in
must
there.
commend. Leroy Dreamy Riley have some very fantastic pictures inside there. I must big up all the contributors. You know, Brother Steve James. You know, and Brother Sweetland. You know, and what's the name from the tourist board? What's his name? Dave Radney. Thanks to all the contributors for this, you know, and definitely you're going to be a part of the team, because I have been called to do a documentary, right? And you're all going to play a role in the documentary. So just keep your ears.
I want to see the movie.
Definitely.
Not the documentary, a movie. But that book, from day one, this will make a great movie.
Yeah, definitely. I've been talking to some very serious people, you know, and I am supposed to be doing a presentation in Jamaica at the Peter Tosh birthday celebration. They're working out the details, you know, and the reopening of the museum, you know, where I'm supposed to do a talk about the book. Peter is in the book so much, and October is Peter Tosh's month, you know. So there's a lot to talk about, you know, but part 2 will be true.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Irie family, for hanging with us. Sorry for the technical glitch, but this will be repeated and uploaded to YouTube. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful week.